Okay, so starting off, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Rob, owner of Alliance Chicago, and I'm running a national event right now.
I'm Tony Mungo. I am the Alliance National GM, and I herd a lot of cats.
I'm Ace Brown, and I am part 1 of 2 of the Las Vegas owners.
Hi, my name is Richard Wilson. I am part 2 of 2 of the Las Vegas owners.
My name is Suzanne Bastian.
My name is Will Broderick.
My name's David Glazer, or Caleth, while I'm in game currently.
I'm Jessica Glazer, and I'm playing Crescent, like the moon.
Hi, my name is Dustin. I'm the owner of Alliance LARP's New Hampshire chapter.
My name is John Thomas. I'm the owner of Alliance Wyoming, or one half of the owner team more specifically.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, my name is Matt Mockton, and in-game, this particular character, I play as Jasper with the outrageous accent. And the ridiculously gorgeous hair.
Hi, I'm Juliet. A lot of people call me Jules. I'm based out of Las Vegas right now. And I'm a member of the national staff, so I actually serve as a project manager and I serve on the PR team.
Hi there, Internet. My name is Tab. I run the Crossroads chapter, or the Tennessee chapter of Alliance.
My name is Andrew, and I am a player, mostly play in the Chicago chapter, where I play Sir Rusty, and I am the head of plot for our newly opening Wisconsin chapter.
Hi, in the real world, I'm Andrea.
I'm Emma.
I'm Ainsley.
Hello, my name is Josh Phillips.
My name is Carrie. I play Pebbles.
I'm Carly. I'm one of the staff members for the national event 2021.
How long have you been playing Alliance?
We're going on 9, almost 10 years.
Okay.
But I've been in this LARP circle for a little bit longer than that. So.
Okay, and how long have you owned Chicago?
We're going to say 6 years, I think.
When you came to the game, you're like, I want to own one of these chapters, or like, what made you push to that decision?
Real quick into it, we started doing like logistics and helping out, and then I ended up becoming GM right as the old owner burned out. It was kind of a spur of the moment decision that was like, why am I making this decision? Oh, well, too late.
Yeah, so Alliance, just a little over 11 years, I think, give or take. I've pretty much done every position in Alliance, from running a plot to helping with logistics to being a player rep to help people that are having issues, you know, engaging or otherwise with others, to now being the national GM.
And so I was looking at the Alliance website, and it said something along the lines of, we only trust the smartest, cleverest, most responsible, adultiest adults to open a chapter. And I went, that'll never be me. Maybe one day when I'm 45. I joined the Alliance and I was like, hey, this is a ton of fun. I absolutely love this. This is everything that I hoped it would be. And then COVID happened. And we were sitting there halfway through COVID and said, what are we doing with our lives? There were no LARPs in Vegas. So speaking with the national owners, they said, can you open Vegas sooner? Establish a presence in that region again.
And we were like, sure, I guess.
We don't even live in Vegas yet, but sure. So we rushed through the process and we opened the chapter. We've run 2 events so far. We're looking at our 3rd. We're doing in October, so 6 weeks. And yes, it's gonna be fantastic.
Now you guys are also chapter owners, yeah?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about Denver?
So we had been negotiating with the previous owner of the Denver chapter, who also at the time happened to be the national owner. Had been talking with him for a good bit, shook his hand on site, and he made the announcement at the end of the event, and then COVID happened.
I have been playing since 2006, I believe. I ran Minnesota from 2009 to about 2018. And I'm super excited because we have moved out to the North Carolina area, and we are working on making the magic again with the new Raleigh chapter with my beautiful wife, Jessica.
Yeah, and you're gonna be my neighbor. That's great.
That's right.
Yeah, I've started playing in Dave's chapter back in 2016. Fell in love with the game and him all at the same time.
Was Dave's game your first game, like, ever LARPing?
Yeah, it was my first LARP ever. I had some tabletop experience, but not actually much in the fantasy genre of tabletop. I knew I wanted to LARP. I loved Renfests. I've always, loved dressing up and stuff.
I did start in high school, played through high school, and then a bit into college. Got to a point where I was like, well, I think I'm kind of done with this for now. And took a step back from it. That lasted about a year.
Brought you back in.
Yeah, my buddy Adam was like, hey, you want to go play Alliance LARP New Hampshire with me? And I'm like, I haven't been to that game in forever. He's like, it's fun, we're going. Because I'm going to go to the one event. I'm not terribly going to enjoy it. And then that's it. I'll actually be able to be done with it. I'll tell him, like, look, I tried and it's over. And I went back and I was hooked again.
At first, I want to tell my own stories. Alliance Wyoming became a meme in the community. One day, there'll be an Alliance Wyoming. Well, one day happens to be now. We'll be opening, hopefully, fingers crossed, April of 2022.
I started playing Alliance after I got back from Iraq in 2011. That was my first event. It was the last event, a season closer, a feast of sorts in Minnesota, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Alliance is where I've come back to on the other side of being a chapter owner, but I've played games across the country. I've been a speaker on LARP, on how to market LARP, so this is a hobby I feel really passionately about. I've brought hundreds of people to the hobby, and that's really what counts, is the people that we expose to this amazing hobby. It helps change lives.
Very much does. I completely agree.
They're learning about themselves, they're learning conflict resolution in a safe space, and they're learning more about themselves.
Well, I've been playing Alliance since late 2001. I was tricked into going to the game by my cousin. I thought we were going to a party at State College out in Pennsylvania, but I ended up going to the then headquarters chapter, playing, loving it, and kind of been hooked ever since.
I asked some friends, they were like, hey, we've been playing this thing called Alliance for a while. You want to come out and give it a try? And I'm like, yeah, I suppose I'll give it a try.
I have been playing Alliance for 11 years now. This is my third character.
Wonderful.
All of them permanently died, and it was very sad and tragic. I've sometimes haven't quite understood grief as much, but it was really wonderful to get to experience that through a safe confines of LARP.
I started late 2019 and then everything canceled for a bit, but now I'm back.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. And yourself?
There's a kids game in Pennsylvania with simplified rules, and I went to that since I was like 7, but the adult game I played in 2019 then shut down, and then now.
Gotcha. Okay. So this guy, I started the kids game with a bunch of us a couple years before you did.
So my first game was in November of 2018.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
So I started Alliance in 2011. I was on the staff for 4 years, I think.
This is kind of a rarity for us staff members. You know, National only comes every 2 years. But if you could give a comment or an opinion about your experience thus far running a national event, what kind of thoughts come to your mind?
It's been really exciting to be able to do this. Alexander, the head of plot, has had this idea for this author thing for years and has just talked about it. You know, like if I, for some reason ever had the chance to run a national event, here's what I would do. I was really excited when he asked me to be on his staff.
Now, this is a tough one for us owners because I'm sure that you have a cavalcade of them. But if you had to shoot from the hip about your favorite memory from Alliance.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There are so many, right? Like every season there's at least one memory that will never leave you. But I'm gonna go with there's actually a event where I first joined a team. We sat down and did like this tea ceremony. It was just this super intense RP about like our goals as a character. It was very immersive. Like it was such a simple moment, but it just stuck. Like I will never forget it.
Mine's not an in-game memory. It is at the end of a game after we all wrapped and we're packing up. It was at the end of one of your games. It was one of the people that we all know, our friend Gray. They were like, hey, you seemed really neat. A couple of us are going to get together later and hang out and just get to know each other on an out-of-game level. And I really did make some lifelong friends around that section. And so just when I'm coming through, I'll come to Asheville and hang out with some friends that I made along the way through all that time. So it really is a meaningful and impactful moment for somebody who is on the go a lot to be able to take that time out and just have people that you can hang out with and really get to know one-on-one.
As a PC, as my character, my favorite moment was Big West 2019. The whole event was super amazing, but that's kind of where Richard and I really started to become friends. Really special experience. As far as favorite NPC owner memory, honestly, our first game for Alliance LARP Las Vegas, I don't think I'll ever forget. It was so cool just getting to see the hard work we put in over the course of a few months, and you hear your story and your plot lines, and you go, that's the world I created. And not only are they talking about the world I created, now they're also, permutating off that. Kind of mind-boggling to go, oh, I wrote a thing, and they liked the thing I wrote.
My favorite moment, also Big West 2019. Specifically for me, there was an NPC he needed 4 souls to sacrifice themselves. 3 of the souls got to choose who was going to sacrifice, and he needed like a healer, a mage, a fighter, and a rogue. And because I was
Smart ass rogue.
and I was mouthing off to this major antagonist, he goes, okay, I need 4 people to sacrifice themselves. All of you get to choose who it is, except the rogue. You. I get a piece of your soul. And I go, what? No, you don't.
Our first Alliance event, they were having an illithid problem. We went in and helped them out, but we were brand new characters, like base build, and we could see things going south before they actually went south. And we tried to explain to the nobles that were in charge, hey, it's about to get real and we are all going to die. And unfortunately, the noble was like, I know what I'm doing, and did not listen. And everybody went down to a man. And you could tell, you could look at the staff and you could see they're like, we're killing everybody. What do we do? They recovered. I got to give props to Jesse and his team. They figured it out. But unfortunately, in the middle of figuring it out, Suzanne's character bled out and died. So we got to visit the circle at our very first Alliance event.
3 of my daughters play and like living it and just watching their face, their eyes light up, watching them go from like being scared in the battle and being able to pretend to be intoxicated in the tavern and being able to watch. We have an amazing person in our chapter that can hear a song and play it. He brings like 15 different instruments, and they asked him to play something and he just started playing, and they were dancing on the porch and there were Selenari everywhere, and watching the girls experience that right there. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it because you're just like, that's it right there.
There's a lot of them. The Shade fight, it was the apex of the Minnesota chapter. The Shade was a vampire who had discovered a way to create multiple bodies for himself so he could come out, fight, and die. Finally, the players spent 4 years tracking this guy down. They found out where he was, where he stored his bodies. They went out to kill him. We ended up having a lot of resurrections, which is something never be afraid of. And the players were so into it that every resurrection, they all felt really cool because they're like, yeah, I died, but we got the guy. And the best part about that was when I went in after the event and I looked at the APL of the deaths, almost all of the deaths were in the higher end of the spectrum. And it was really nice to see the high level players kind of take the lead and take the brunt. The players astounded me with just the camaraderie and teamwork and the way they came together.
I can definitely vouch for the feeling of how it felt to die at that event, because I did. It was all worth it. It was, I felt like I was part of something. It just added to my story so much.
My operational aspect of this game has been fairly limited. I believe my favorite thing in terms of that was interacting with a member of then Denver's staff team, plot team, who is actually now on our plot team. It just so happened that most of our team couldn't make the game. It was kind of left to us to figure out how we were going to approach it. So I sent a message to the staff member who was running, and I said, I just want to let you know, this might get a little dark. And I said, I want you to tell me where the line is. He sent me a message back and he said, what's a line? Do what you want. I said, all right. And so we went in there and we did what we wanted. It was maybe a darker tone than a lot of Alliance games will get, but it is one of our favorite memories. Our team talks about it to this day. When our head of plot approached him about joining our team, he said, oh, John and Candace, I remember that. The fact that he would let that happen, he would make that happen, means that he's going to run a kind of game I want to run with greater morality and a little bit of consequences.
Favorite Alliance moment?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. I think my in-character wedding.
Okay.
We threw a big, giant wedding. The whole game attended. It was like 80 participants, and I've actually never been married, so this was like my first planning a wedding. It was really fun. And I wore a full wedding dress. We had the owner, Jesse Grabowski, officiate the in-character wedding with his very fancy paladin, who we later found out was a golden dragon. Just saying. And we were saying our vows, and that trope that you're expecting me to talk about happened, and the bad guy threw a death gas poison, attempting to assassinate my partner, my character's soon-to-be husband, and hit me square in the back. And I fell over dead instead.
Well, the favorite moments is a tough one for some of us old timers because there are so many of them. It's kind of the same moment over and over again, is seeing growth, either in myself, in others. You create friendships and you get to check in with them regularly. Over years, seeing the development of people that go from that new starry-eyed new kid who's just overwhelmed with the size and scope of a game to seeing them get well healed and go through the rigmarole of playing this silly thing, go through some stuff in life, and then, seeing that person become an owner, a full-fledged human being, and to see the travelings and the the changes in ourselves as we grow through this hobby. And I love the fact that I've been doing this for 20 years and it still shows me something new every time I do it.
I don't have a singular favorite moment, but I have a favorite moment that happens over and over again for me. Is the first time one of these new people I have brought in comes up to me with that look in their eye and that spring in their step, and they come over and they tell me about the adventure they just went on and how much fun it was. And that's where I'm like, yes, this is like, you got it now. You're hooked.
Sometimes it is silly o'clock. I had a mod once where we went into a crayon drawing. So there ended up being someone swinging for 10 freshly cut grass.
As like a color? Was that their concept?
Yeah, well, that's
wonderful.
what they had to swing it, call every time they swung. And then we also had like aquamarine and chartreuse.
Oh, chartreuse as a verbal?
Yes.
That's how you defeat me as a fighter.
I remember our first event, and me and one of my friends played Fae. One of them was fall, and one of us was spring, and we switched colors. So, like, I had the fall colors, and she had the spring colors. And our lead Fae was Sir Reginald Cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fae don't introduce themselves as their actual names.
Of course not.
So Sir Reginald Cornbread carried around this box, and he told the PCs, hey, we can answer one question, and grandfather is what he referred the box as, will answer your one question. And just throughout the event, grandfather got more detailed, and you learned that, oh, he committed war crimes. Oh, he's your actual grandfather?
One of my favorite characters, his name was Pablo, and he kept talking about the sweet, sweet peach rock loot. And that was fun to go on those.
Coming into first or second game, nighttime, wave of red LED husks just coming down the hill, everyone freaking out, all of us lobies jumping into the tavern, barricading at walls of forest. And then not but 2 minutes later, husks start climbing in through the window behind us.
My favorite moment would be my very first event. You kind of get into this adrenaline shock when you start, and you're like, oh my gosh, I could really die. All these monsters are just gonna murder face us. What are we doing? Why are we here? And this Medusa was coming around and just turning people to stone and paralyzing them. You know, we didn't have anybody around us, and basically everyone had dispersed when this thing happened, and we all hid in the woods. And I specifically remember army crawling along paths to avoid the Medusa, and to be, you know, we were like, shh, it's coming, you know. So it was just such an adrenaline rush to try and creep around this monster. And then finally we all came up with a plan, and we all just, you know, waited to ambush her, and she walked in and we got her. But that was my very first event, and it was just stuck in my brain ever since, and it's so good.
When I run my games, I try to, and I say this often to my players, you know, this is a game, it's contrived, it's safe, but I'm going to try to trick you into thinking it's real for about 5 seconds at a time.
Man, if there's 5 seconds you forget that you're not you, oh man, it's magic. It's
yes,
magic.
it is. Very much so, very much so. So in wrapping up, the last question that I always ask people is, if you were to talk to somebody who likes gaming but has not pulled the LARP trigger, has not jumped onto the fence and actually came out to an event, what would you say to a brand new prospective LARPer?
Everything in life is worth trying one time. Everything. Because you never know what will be your passion until you find it.
Well, thank you so much, Rob, for your time, and go back and keep on running the best damn Alliance national event I've ever been to.
Absolutely. It
you
is
were doing an amazing job on that.
Still a full day to go, and
Yep.
I tell you what, the feet are beat. But
dude, keep the wheels rolling, and you'll be all right.
Bye, guys.
Take care, buddy.
If somebody's on the fence, I really put it to them in the sense of, you've read all these stories that other people have created, but what if you could go out there and make that choice? If I turned Lord of the Rings into a choose your own adventure, would you read that book and turn to page 56? And if you come to LARP, you can. You're presented with opportunities and challenges, so it's an opportunity to not be a passive observer, but be an active participant. And if that appeals to you, come to our game, right? Absolutely. And then secondarily, none of that appeals to you, but you absolutely love doing tech stuff or logistics or managing people or herding cats, please come help. Because we need those people too.
I have made some of the dearest friends of my life. Richard and I met each other through LARPing, and he is my dearest friend in the world. And I cannot trade that for the world. And it would not have happened if I hadn't played Alliance. So.
Thank you.
Take a minute.
I'm going to speak to the LARPers themselves for a second here, because there are a lot of things that we can do to get more people in.
If anything, you could probably go on your local chapter's Facebook page or Discord or whatever and say, hey, I'm new. Can someone either teach me how to make a costume or have extra costuming or weapons or whatever?
Don't come play.
Yeah.
Just come see. Just come watch.
Come make the story, because it will eventually be your story.
We brought some introverts to this game, and just seeing them kind of come out of their shell, you know, or giving them a little nudge when you get into the mod, to be like, I could talk, but no, you go talk to them, right? It's been awesome.
It's cheaper to NPCs, so if you don't know if you're quite there, you get a chance to do different roles and see what kind of weapons you like, what kind of armor you like, because there's so many different things. It's a good compromise.
Yeah, you don't have to memorize like all the spells or anything.
Yeah, people will help you. The whole NPC camp's like, hey, do you know what this means? And if you say no, they're like, do you want to know what this means?
I showed up to my first game and I didn't know anybody. You don't have to worry about that because everybody's excited when a new person is there. People want more friends in their community. They want more people who love what they love. So don't be afraid of that.
I find, and this is just my opinion, but I think we all need a little escapism in our lives. I mean, like, the real world's rough and it's harsh. You can immerse yourself in this game, make this character, adopt that role and go in there and you can be someone who you weren't. It gets you out of there and it's a good, clean way to get some escapism. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I could say.
Thank you, both.
This sort of thing, it lets you sort of contextualize your problems as we have a problem and we can solve it. And you solve it over the course of 2 days, over a weekend. And it's nice to be able to have that closure that doesn't always exist in real life.
And part of the reason I've become an owner too is to foster that whole idea of, hey, it's a healing process for some. If you were involved in wars in the past or any kind of military or non-military things where you have anxiety or PTSD of any types of different levels, this game is one that is all-inclusive. I don't want to say bends over backward to include such things, but definitely will cater to those types of situations.
Very much so.
Purposefully.
Very much so.
And it does allow for healing, allows for personal growth, all of these types of things.
I normally wouldn't ask someone to give their time if I didn't believe in something, because time is the one thing you can't get back. So I'm asking you to trust us and give us 48, 50-something hours, whatever the event works out to be, of your time. And I promise you, we're going to do something you haven't seen yet.
Oh, we play D&D, but we're not LARPers and stuff. But oh my gosh, I love this so much more than D&D.
There's so many different ways to be involved. I don't think there's any reason for anyone not to try it.
And we welcome you to the Alliance. Welcome to the family.
Woo!